Hi, good evening.
Is this the end of Zwelinzima Vavi? Can he come back from this? Will he ever be the General Secretary of COSATU again?
Well, he's still the General Secretary of COSATU. He's just the suspended General Secretary. It's not out of the question that he could survive this if there's enough pressure from NIMSA and other unions. He's only suspended. He's not fired. If he was fired, of course, that might not be the end of Zwelinzima Vavi either, because he might reappear in some other capacity. He might land up as a leader of a rival trade union federation. He could be a leader of some sort of social movement. He might even go into politics. So I don't think we're anywhere near seeing the end of Zwelinzima Vavi in South African public life. And as I say, we may not be at the end of seeing him as General Secretary of COSATU.
Now, lots of talk from NUMSA. They've been unwavering in their support, and they're having their meeting and press conference tomorrow. Do you think, because people are saying their bluff has been called, they've been talking about the split from the federation, do you think they will actually go through with that?
I don't think it's out of the question. It wouldn't be the end of the world. You know, the way in which unions operate in the factories is not dependent on the federations. I think NUMSA wouldn't really have to take a decision until December, because that's when it's having a conference at which it could take that decision. But clearly, I think COSATU has to take the prospect of a NUMSA breakaway very seriously. And if NUMSA did break away, other unions might join it. And that would create a very serious situation for COSATU. So I don't think it's necessarily an idle threat at all.
So then COSATU, I imagine, now is a bit weaker than it has been in the past. And if you take that into consideration, what you just said, going forward, where to from here for them?
Well, COSATU has been very seriously weakened, and it doesn't look like there's any prospect of it being strengthened anytime soon. Because one of the strengths of COSATU has been the fact that it's been able to have different factions within it, or different viewpoints within it, and these are settled democratically, and people get on with union activity. When you start to get to a situation, for example, which we're in, where the president of a union is suspended because he invited the General Secretary to a meeting and because people didn't like something he said, then you're sending a very clear signal to some members of your trade union federation that they're not welcome. And that really invites people to look at other alternatives, and that very much weakens COSATU, yes.
Zwelinzima Vavi's been quiet for a few days. He took to Twitter this morning saying that he again profusely apologized for what he did. He said he erred in his ways. He apologized to those who his indiscretion hurt. What I want to know is, COSATU, is there a witch hunt to get rid of Zwelinzima Vavi? There's always been this pro-Zuma stance, and he's not in that camp. Is this an actual push to get rid of him, and are they using this as a push to get rid of him?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that there is a push to get rid of him. I mean, remember, well, we had the allegation that he'd acted improperly in the sale of the building. At that stage, incidentally, his opponents in COSATU were very open. They said he's siding with the political opposition, he's not loyal enough to the ANC. They were very frank about that. Obviously, what's happened now is, by his own admission, you know, he's done something which has given them a great deal of fuel, and they feel that this is their opportunity. But there's no doubt that there is a campaign to get rid of him. And you see, that creates a situation where, despite what he's done, despite the fact that he himself has acknowledged that what he's done was not acceptable, whatever happens to him will be seen as a political witch hunt, and unions like NUMSA will react to it angrily for that reason.
Now, COSATU has 2 million members. It has a huge voice in society, part of the Tripartite Alliance, and they should be campaigning with the ANC for the upcoming elections. How do you think the ANC is watching this? Oh,
I think the ANC is very upset about what's happening. Remember that the General Secretary, Secretary General Gwede Mantashe, Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa went to the last COSATU Central Executive Committee meeting to try to smooth this over, to say, in effect, don't do this, don't split the organization. And the reason they're doing that is very obvious. They are, as you correctly suggest, they are worried about next year's election. COSATU has played a very important role over the years in campaigning for the ANC and getting the vote out and organizing people to go out and vote for the ANC. And the ANC leadership know that a split COSATU is not going to do that nearly as well as a united COSATU. So we have this very ironic situation where people within the union who are upset with opponents of the ANC leadership are in turn being opposed by the ANC leadership, who's saying, look, you know, this might benefit us in the short term, but it doesn't benefit us in the long term.
Thank you very much for your time and insight. That was political analyst Professor Stephen Friedman.